Welcome to Business Legal Lifecycle TV, the live TV show all about the legal aspects of your business to help educate you on complex legal terms in an easy to understand manner, to help understand why you need to do certain things in your business from a legal point of view, and to help you develop a plan for the future. Our mission at Business Legal Lifecycle is to help empower all small to medium-sized businesses around the world to get access to legal advice so that they can help build their communities and make the world a better place. Did you know that any business owner is on average 7 months away from losing everything? That is the average time it takes from a successful business to fold when an aspect of their business is not set up correctly. Have you ever wanted to get legal advice but didn't understand what was going on? Do you feel like there is a divide between lawyers and their clients? Then this TV show is for you. It is all about empowering you and your business with the knowledge and tools to ensure that this doesn't happen to you. Business Legal Lifecycle TV delivers a twice-weekly show focusing on the legal aspects of your business. At lunchtime on Mondays, we present Fast Fix Monday, a quick 5 to 10 minute show that will give you some actionable steps to consider for the week for your business. And at lunchtime on Wednesdays, we present our in-depth show of between 30 minutes and an hour, where we go through complicated legal aspects of your business in a simple to understand, plain English manner. And whether that is through educational pieces or interviews with experts in their fields.
Afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Fast Fix Monday, Business Legal Lifecycle TV. As always, I'm here with Jeremy. Jeremy, you want to say hello?
Hi, everyone. Hope you're having a great day.
Excellent. So this month, we're moving into March 2018, if you haven't realised already. February has disappeared. And for March, we're concentrating on Phase 11, which is talking about sale of your business. So today we're going to talk about sort of the difference between sale of shares and sale of business. As always with Fast Fix Monday, it is fast and it's a quick fix about something. So we're not going into a great deal of detail today about the particular things we're going to talk about, but we're going to touch on them, something to think about going forward. So Jeremy, do you want to mention a little bit more about Phase 11?
Yeah, sure. So for anyone who's watching us on the Facebook Live or YouTube or Periscope, you'll see that I've brought up the slide with the Business Legal Lifecycle. If you are listening to our podcast and you're not familiar with the Business Legal Lifecycle, please feel free to jump on our website, businesslegallifecycle.com.au, to find out more, or jump onto our Facebook page. If you just go into Facebook and search Business Legal Lifecycle, you'll find all of our great information there. So Phase 11 is, you'll see it's the third last phase of the business legal life cycle. And you'll see that it's at the top of the business legal life cycle because all of the other phases are all about getting ready for Phase 11. At some point in time, you're going to exit your business, and we'll talk about this in more detail. No matter who you are, no matter what your business is, at some time you will exit your business. So the business legal life cycle is building up to get to Phase 11. And Phase 11 includes sale of whole or part of the business, or listing on the stock exchange if that's where you want to go. And all of the other 10 phases before that are all about getting everything right and all the chocks in place so that you've got a business that's ready for sale. So Craig, do you want to kick off into sale of shares versus sale of business?
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks, Jeremy. So this comes back to the difference between your entities, and that's something we discussed back in the early days of Business Legal Lifecycle TV, way back on show number 3, I believe, where we spoke about structures for startups. So as we would have mentioned back then, when you're setting up your structures, you've got to think about an end in mind. So when you're doing that, these sorts of things now come into play. How you set it up back then, it may have a bearing on how you're going to sell your business. So if you want more info about startups and the structures, go back, find episode 3 on the website and have a listen to that. So it's important that from a legal point of view, a business is not a separate legal entity. So it's not a standalone entity, but you can sell the business or buy a business as an asset. So the legal entity is actually the person that owns the business, which is normally a company that owns a business, and so they're a separate legal entity. So in the instance of what we're talking about today is the difference between selling the actual business or selling the shares. So you can either sell the business or the shares in the company that owns the business. And it's an important distinction, and Jeremy will go through that quickly now about what is the actual difference and the advantages and disadvantages around that. So Jeremy, if you want to touch on that.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks, Craig. The main difference comes in to the situation of the buyer and the seller. So, and really this is one of those areas, and as anyone who's watched any of our shows or heard us speak knows that we're very big on accountants, lawyers, financial planners, coaches, all working together. And the reason that this is important is because whether you're buying shares or you're buying a business, there are different tax consequences. There's different stamp duty consequences that can be advantageous for both sides. So you need to work out the best way to structure it. So, for instance, a seller might want to sell the shares in a company because it could give them a better tax position. Say, for instance, if a company owns a business and it sells the business as opposed to the shares in the company, it will have to pay the maximum amount of capital gains tax. If the shareholder of the company is a trust or an individual, and that trust or individual sells their shares, they actually get 50% capital gains tax discount so long as they've owned the shares for a year and they comply with a few other little rules. So from a seller's point of view, there can be a great saving to buying the shares, to selling the shares in the company. However, if you're the buyer, when you buy the shares in the company, you're buying the whole company along with all of its liabilities and all of its problems. There is a benefit definitely in Queensland. If you're a buyer, if you sell shares, there's no transfer duty or what used to be called stamp duty on the sale. And you can get your accountant and your lawyer to do lots of investigations into the company to make sure that there's no hidden gremlins in the business. So, for instance, there's an employee who has a wages claim or an injury claim that may not have been made. If you buy the shares in the company, you can be liable for that as the buyer. So there are different reasons and there's different ways to actually do this. If you're a buyer, really, unless you really want to try and save your stamp duty, the simplest way to buy the business is the business as opposed to the company. But as I say, there are cost savings that can be made depending on what you need to do. So as always, and as we always talk about, when you're a seller and you're looking at selling a business, you need to think like a buyer. What does the buyer want? What would you as a buyer want, and what would your buyer look at doing? Do up an avatar. We talk about, with clients doing up an ideal client avatar, do up an ideal buyer avatar and work out from their position what they're actually going to want and what benefits you can give them and what comfort you can give them, so that the buyer can get the best position, the seller can get the best position, and everyone can make sure that they're moving it forward properly. So that's just a quick take on that. On Wednesday, on the 7th of March, we're going to do a bit more of a deeper dive onto the sale of business and sale of shares. But that's really what we wanted to talk about today. Craig, did you want to finish off?
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks, Jeremy. Hopefully everyone got something out of that. As Jeremy said, we're back on Wednesday. But I think the most important distinction out of that is to think like a buyer when you're selling your business. As always, talk to your advisors, get them involved. This is not a step that you'd be doing without talking to your team. If you've got any questions, obviously let us know, and we'll see you again on Wednesday. Thank you, everyone. See you later.
Thanks, everyone.